What is that cable? I've noticed that.
Well, that keeps this, that way you can just sit it like this, see?
Oh yeah. And
If
keep
you
it-
just have to look in and do a little check the oil
Okay.
or something like that.
Is that how you check the oil? You just pop that forward?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just pulling this off so it's just easier to show. Where's that? Oh, that lamp right over there. Get some extra light in this. You can either put it this way depending on your work. It also slides this way and actually can get way back to there if you have to. You just have to crawl over it when you're going from one place to another. Check the fluid. Keep it up to here.
Okay.
And you can mark it with a little black magic marker if you want to watch that. You don't want it, it's going to lose a little bit, but you don't want to see anything significant going out.
Is that coolant?
Yeah, this is coolant here. I should have said that. That's coolant. You see the paper towel down there that's pink? That's because they spilled coolant into the bilge there.
Yes.
So I normally clean that out, wipe it down so it's nice and clean, and I'll put paper towels in it. And I'll see some oil drip here, you know, a little bit. But it's once you establish what's normal, then when you see something, you know right off the bat, hey, this isn't right. And indeed, that's what happened early this season, and I had to have a gasket replaced on the fuel filter, or the oil filter, which the gasket cost me $27, a little piece of rubber like that. But I didn't know what the whole problem was, so I had a mechanic do it, and it was $400. So had I known what the problem was, I could have done it for $27.
What are these open screws?
I have no idea what they're for. Different, I would suspect it was probably different models, because a lot of this stuff goes on tractors, because Yanmar makes some various tractors too. And so I'm speculating there was something addition to that on this exhaust manifold
Oh, okay,
here.
something else.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. Don't
Maybe
know.
it was supposed to mount to something that goes above it.
Yeah, probably something to hold it, or and who knows? I don't know. This is the isolator. I had this replaced. I replaced this.
That's a siphon,
It's a anti-siphon. See this little emergency thing here? I had that. I made that up myself. And the reason it is, these two pieces go down, around, over the floor, back up to the hot water heater. And that's how you heat the hot water.
These two?
Yeah.
Right here?
One goes out, and then it goes through the hot water through a heat exchanger, a whole bunch of tubes kind of going in S back and forth, and the hot water is circulating around these tubes and absorbing the water.
Seawater? That's
It's
hot water?
no. This is
It's fresh water
coolant.
from
This
the-
is fresh water. Here is where the coolant interfaces. Yeah, interfaces with the seawater. The raw seawater goes around these little tubes that have coolant in it, exchanging the heat.
But which ones go to the sink that do the hot water heater?
These two.
These two?
These two. So what you do is you take this off, you unscrew those, you put that U channel in there, screw them back together again, and then the water just goes like this.
So that's fresh water going through these two.
Yeah, well, coolant.
Coolant.
Yeah, it's coolant. So what happened was that one of these split. One of the tubes split. It was, hot water goes there, deteriorated, it split, it dumped the coolant into the bilge, and we had to run the engine. And it was just, difficult. Fortunately, I was right next to the shore. We just went into the marina, and I got new hose. But I said, what if this had happened in the Bahamas? I could come up with something, but having this here is just an extra.
So you attach this U-shaped piece to these two
Yeah, I
hoses,
take
or
the-
to this piece?
I take these two off and I put them back on. I put the U-shape on. So it's like this here, and then it comes this way, and it comes back here.
Okay.
Oil fill is right there. That's your dipstick. That's also where I suck oil out with the through the dipstick.
Oh, when you're changing?
Yeah, when I change the oil, or when you change the oil.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. He said that there was a drip reading on a coolant. Let's see if we can see it. Here. Said it looked like there was a drip here. So I'm going to get can you hand me a flathead screwdriver since we're doing this, and I will tighten this up, and then you just check it out to make sure when you get there.
Oh, there it is.
Now, it may be his leak, and it may be when they winterized it, they spilled a bunch on there, because I see some spots where the only way it could have come was from above where there's no... Let me get this too, just to be safe. Don't do this while the engine's going. Actually, that one took more turns than the others. There we go. Yeah, let's see if that does the job. If not, then you can get these, you can order these 2 pieces of tubing here and just replace it. But I don't think you're going to have to. I think this is going to be okay. I've never had a hose break on me except for this one down underneath the floor there.
That was the Bahamas problem.
Yeah. You can adjust the tension here. It's kind of, you just look at it and it's pretty easy to see how to do that. It's got a new alternator.
When you change the belt, do you have to take the tension off of it there?
Yeah, exactly. And then this sort of, you take the bolt out, it slides up. There's a spacer in there. Worked out pretty well. I could get a Yanmar. It's not a Yanmar, but it's a one-on-one replacement. Same castings and everything. And everything I read on it and talking to the mechanics, it'll probably last 6 months shorter than the expected 10 years on a Yanmar, and it cost $110 as opposed to $650. So look for the alternates if you can. Sometimes the filters, some people like to do that. I stuck with Yanmar just because they were available, but you might find filters that are equivalent to this that would work just as well.
Okay.
And significantly cheaper. Yeah, on the front end, that's about it. Just as, like I say, just clean that bilge out there. And there are no limber holes, so it's none of that stuff is going to go into the bilges unless it gets really high.
So you gotta keep it cleaned out, and then you can see if it's leaking too.
Yeah, you don't want to pump them.
Can you tell us about this again?
Oh,
We talked
sure.
about that on the day that we did the inspection, but I
Yeah.
did not get the
Okay.
full story on it.
This gets really hot up in here naturally, and there's 2 ways to cool it, provide additional cooling to the engine than the regular heat exchanger. One is that this is a blower, and it can either blow air in and suck air out because the engine is aspirated and needs oxygen, or it can suck air in and blow air out the other direction. So what this does is it has one tube. In this case, it's this tube, and it's sucking off this hot air that's up in here, right in here. It's pulling that hot air out, and then at the bottom, it's blowing cool air in. On a gasoline engine, you want, since the gas fumes are heavy and flammable, you want to suck those gas fumes out. So this would be putting air in and gas fumes out. We'll see on the backside, you'll see one just like this, but it's down on the bottom. So this helps cool the engine. The other way is if the engine is overheating, I was thinking of my truck. I do that all the time. But you can also make sure that you can run hot water out. You're gonna lose it. You run hot water out, cold water comes in, and the heat exchanger is going around that. But this is only in an emergency situations. And you probably won't have to worry about that. But it just helps the engine stay a little bit cooler. So if the engine seems to be a little hot, you can put the blower on. I normally do not have to put the blower on at all. And the blower's up there. And you can turn it on if you want, but I don't put the blower on. I maybe 2-3 times a season.
Like you're just watching the temperature gauge.
Yeah,
and
and
seeing
I'm
if it's-
pushing the engine really hard and everything else. I say, okay, I'll turn the blower.
What temperature would you feel like on that
approaching 200. I'll show you on the dial.
Okay.
It usually runs at about 180, 185 is at 2800 to 2900. It runs about 185.
Okay.
And that's
And
right.
the,
And even 200 is fine, but I'm probably a little overcautious.
and the switch for the blower is right there on the console. Right?
Yeah, it's right up on the
Yeah,
console.
I never seen it.